down in twos. You know how we do. Baby Reed.
600 games with the Mavs. You saw 604, the number on that graphic on the Shiner Box spotlight. And he plays every game for the rest of the year. It's a dirt dunk! It's a dirt dunk!
Look at the bench.
Welcome back to another episode of Ball Street Channel. This is Nishant. We're shooting a nice little podcast tonight. It's more like a micro pod. But just want to thank anyone who's been listening for the last year. Can't believe it's been almost 1 year since we started this endeavor that we had. Just three guys just trying to talk about the sport that they love. I know we haven't put out too many pods, but it's been a busy year. We've had a lot of fun doing this. So hope that you guys have liked what we've done. Tonight we got Sandeep on the line.
What's good, everybody?
The travel man, the man who keeps who's hard to lock down in any one state at a time.
Okay, don't blow up my spot. Okay, you don't have to tell people where I am.
He's like the Jeremy Lin of this
dirty,
podcast.
That's dirty.
the true American journeyman.
Well, knock on wood, I don't have a devastating knee injury.
But it's okay. I'm sure your parents would have been more proud if you went to Harvard anyway.
Yeah, probably. I ended up where they eventually wanted me to go anyway. So
yeah, that's true.
It only took an extra 8 years.
So tonight we wanted to do something a little bit different. I think as the year wraps up, everyone's starting to talk about awards, playoff previews, and we'll do those things. But I think tonight we want to talk a little bit about the five most exciting teams from our perspective, and the teams that we're looking forward to, either in the playoffs or for next season, and the teams that have just been the best league pass watches for us.
Well, let me clarify something first. What do you define as exciting? Is exciting just it's a Wednesday night and you're looking for something to do and you see this team playing and you jump on League Pass, or for some of us that can't afford League Pass, on another website to watch these teams? Or it's exciting in terms of just like season-long excitement, season-long drama?
I think the biggest thing for me is just like teams that I like to just put on a Wednesday night. I think that there's a lot of teams that have drama, and I think that that's exciting in its own way. But just teams that have either shocked me, or teams that I like to put on because I like their grit, or teams that look like they're just having fun out there. I mean, I think that in today's NBA, it's hard to find nowadays, just like teams that are out there having fun.
Okay, I can rock with that.
All right, you want me to start off?
Yeah, you give me your number one. Here, let's do this. How about we don't have the same top five? So, if your number one is my number one, then I have to put my number two as my number one. So that way we get a good, like, solid, 10 teams at the end of this. Okay,
that sounds good. So I'm gonna start with top my fifth highest. Is that fine?
All right, you guys, fifth highest.
All right. The number 5 team for me is the LA Clippers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. This is a team that didn't have too many expectations coming into the season. They had some good players like Tobias Harris, but I really like what they've done this year. I mean, they have such a gritty team. I mean, guys like in the beginning of the year, it didn't make sense what they were trying to do. They were trying to jam-pack like Avery Bradley having lots of minutes when he clearly wasn't the effective guy. And I think Doc has done an amazing job. But they're just fun to watch. Like, Montrezl Harrell came out of nowhere. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is doing much better than he was before. Gallo, my past Nick rather, is sort of relevant again, avoiding major injury this year. Lou Williams is always fun to watch. This team is just it's kind of like the old school Detroit Pistons team, where they don't have like one alpha guy, but the team works so well together. They have such good harmony that they're fun to watch.
Well, so this team doesn't really have, that high-flying offense. So what exactly is drawing to you to watch them on a Wednesday night?
I think it's just that they get. It seems like they get along. Guys. The Lou Williams obviously is their shot maker at the end, but he'll defer to Gallo. You got a guy like Montrezl Harrell who fits perfectly in his role. He's the rim runner, the hustle kind of guy. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who halfway through the season, or a little bit earlier than halfway through the season, took over the starting job, and as a rookie point guard, like, that's hard to do. And then you got guys like Andrew Shamet who just got to the team.
I love Shamet.
Yeah, and guys like Zubac who just got to the team, and like it feels like they just took him in and took him like family. And I don't know, they're overproducing what their expectations were. And I don't think they're going to get far in the playoffs, but I do love to watch their grit and grind every single day. These guys work hard on defense, play together on offense. I mean, I don't know what's not to like about the Clippers right now.
Yeah, I mean, I'll throw on a Clippers game some nights just to see, what kind of fight Patrick Beverley is going to get into, because you never know. You never know who's going to try to fight.
That's true. Pat Beverly's a hothead.
Well, I think he got into a fight with LeBron last time or something, or who was it? I think I think it was LeBron.
Oh, I love the undercurrent for this team as well. Like the Zubac now taking shots at being at the better LA team. Patrick Beverley saying that he's at the better LA team. Doc Rivers saying that he's already signed this quote unquote extension because he's on the right team. I love all of that, and I think that the Clippers are doing exactly that. The team is, they're so prideful in themselves, and I really like that.
So do you think Ballmer's making the right decision in staying in LA and putting that investment in that new stadium, or are you in the boat that he should have probably moved down to San Diego or something like that?
I think since Balls has taken over this team, Balls has been doing the good stuff, and I think that's why.
You're calling him what, Ball?
Well, that it seems like that's what all of his friends call him.
You're friends with Ballmer now. Okay.
Well, Jeannie Buss calls him that. If you read,
all right,
if you read that report.
First of all, Jeannie Buss and Ballmer are not friends whatsoever.
Well, you never know. They have that. I don't know if you saw the report where Jeannie was talking about like Ballmer trying to. Get the new stadium, and how she was like very, very upset about it, and she was talking to like all the people on those emails got leaked, and she kept calling him Balls with a Z on there. So might as well treat him with respect with what his colleagues are calling him. But sure. I think he's done a great job since he took over this team, and this team is just fun to watch in my perspective.
Okay, so if you're going to take Clippers at 5, then I'm going to take the Mavericks. For the one reason that everybody watches the Mavericks, because of Luka Doncic, because I mean, this kid does anything on any given night. You just never know what he's going to do. I remember watching a Nets game a month ago, and I think it might have been the game that we blew him out, but it was like the end of the first quarter, and there's like 3 seconds left on the clock. You saw Luka get the ball, dribble it out, knew exactly what spot to get to, and just launches it from 35 and switches. And I think that he's going to be a League Pass must-watch probably for years to come for now.
Yeah, man, Luka Doncic. I mean, I know hindsight's 20/20, but you just look back at all the teams that passed on him, and I think the rookie class is very, very talented, and I think all those guys will end up being big factors in this league. But Luka Doncic is just the kind of guy that could be the centerpiece in a championship team, and he's already showing that the few years of Euroball that he was playing, like he's mature, and his game is already a couple years ahead of any of those other guys. And not to mention, he's picking up moves throughout the year, like that step back that he picked up from Harden. It's already so filthy.
Mm-hmm. And then of course when next season that KB comes back, I think this team is going to probably become the top 3 most exciting team to watch next season.
Wow, that's bold. Well, I am a little bit upset that we lost KP, and I hope that he ends up doing well for himself down there.
So what's going on with the Mavericks draft pick? I know they sent it to Atlanta last year, but is there any protections on it?
I think it's top 5 protected. So if the Mavs are in the top 5, then they get to hold on to it. So I think that they're really trying to push to get a couple of wins here. But the ultimate thing would be for the Hawks if they fall in the top 5 on their own pick, and the Mavs fall at number 6 or 7 or something like that, because then they'll get the Mavs pick.
Yeah, I think the Mavs are number 6 right now.
Let's see. They are so teams worse than them. My beloved Knicks. Second worst team would be the Suns. Third worst team is the Cavaliers. Fourth are the Bulls. Fifth are the Hawks. Yeah, they're tied for 6th worst with the Grizzlies.
The Grizzlies, and I think the Wizards might be like right behind them.
Yeah, the Wizards are 1 game ahead of them.
Yeah, so I would say theoretically by the end of the season, Mavs are probably looking at maybe the 7th or 8th pick.
Which would be ideal for the Hawks.
Yes.
Get a couple of good picks in this draft. I don't think that there's as many slam dunks in this draft, but I think they can get a couple of good role players to, fit alongside the things that the Hawks have going on. And to segue to that, Hawks are my number 4 team for most exciting.
Okay.
And I just think that the exponential growth that Trae Young has had this year is remarkable. I mean, we knew this guy was going to have struggles on defense, and he has that. But his vision is unreal. The passes he's making are already leagues ahead of any other rookie point guard. And now we're getting to see Ice Trae, his quote-unquote nickname. I mean, he's hit like 3 game winners in the last 2 weeks. This guy's just fun to watch. He's showing up. He's showing that he's here to stay, and he's reminding us that this, that Luka Doncic didn't run away with the Rookie of the Year. He may ultimately win, but I don't think Trae Young is a joke. And I think if this coming up year, if they get another good draft pick like they've been drafting well, then this trade may have actually been Atlanta's favors instead of the Mavs' favor, which is what everyone thought all year.
Yeah, I remember during Summer League and all the struggles that Trae had, everybody was just pointing and laughing at the Atlanta Hawks and just wondering how they could have ever traded Luka Doncic. But now I feel like it's flipped. Now I think people kind of view Luka and Trae as kind of on the same tier. Now I think at the end of their careers, I think Luka will have surpassed Trae by a mile. But that gap isn't as big right now. And when you kind of think about what they got in that trade, right? They got Luka, they got Trae, they got John Collins, and now potentially, a top 8 pick. So, I agree with you. Atlanta is a very exciting team. But I love what Trae's doing. I remember watching the game last Sunday where he hit the game tying shot to take in overtime, and that's all I really have to say about the Hawks.
Who you got number 4?
Number 4. Now you took my number 4, so I'm trying to scramble here. I kind of want to take the Lakers, but to be honest, I would really only watch a Lakers game if LeBron was playing, so I can't really give it to him because there's no way I'm ever going to watch a Lakers game for the rest of the season. So I'm going to put my number 4 as the Thunder.
Wow, okay.
Well, I mean, when you think about what's going on with them right now, right? I think we talked about it earlier. Since the All-Star game, Thunder have been second or dead to last in terms of offensive efficiency. They kind of tumbled from I think at one point they were the 3rd seed. And we thought that they were going to at least be a very good contender to get to the Western Conference Finals. And now they're at 7, and they were, for a little while looking at close to the 8th seed too. So still love watching Russ play. Love watching what PG has done, even though his production's kind of cooled off and he's probably not that, top 3 MVP candidate that we all thought that he was going to end up being. But at the end of the day, I'm always going to watch the Thunder, watch if Russell Westbrook is going to get another triple-double, which, again, I feel like people are completely devalued what Russell Westbrook is doing.
Yeah, I mean, first player today he clinched being the first player in NBA history to average a triple-double in 3 consecutive seasons. I mean, we were just talking 3 years ago that we don't think anyone's ever going to be able to average a triple-double, and that's one of those records that'll never be broken, and all of a sudden we're fast forward 3 years and this guy's done it 3 straight seasons. I mean, he might be sort of stat padding a lot of the games, especially that recent one that he attributed to Nipsey Hussle, but he's still doing it. He's still out there working hard every single day, even if he's just getting rebounds that normally a center would get, and Adams is letting him get those. He still has to hustle up and down the court, and I think that even if a shot isn't there, he's such a difference maker for that team that they're at least fun to watch, because at any given moment, Paul George can get really hot, and Russell Westbrook can either do amazing things or do really foolish things on the court and could get ejected at any moment because he's hot-headed.
Yeah, I don't understand this whole notion of the stat padding thing. I mean, are we really going to say that Russell Westbrook in the entire history of the NBA is the only player who ever cared about averaging the averages that he has now? If everybody could stat pad, everybody would do it, but not everyone can do it. And only freak athletes like Russell Westbrook, athletes who have the skill like Russell Westbrook, really do it. And it's crazy to think that he actually clinched averaging a triple-double with 4 games left to go in this season. I think they have 4 left. And I remember, I think the first season he had to go all the way till the final game of the season until it was actually confirmed.
I think he had to get like 12 rebounds at like last game, and he got like 12 somewhere in the fourth quarter. And
so he's actually more productive this season, probably a lot less efficient, but I think this season been even more impressive than what he did 2 seasons ago.
For sure, yeah. Sticking around in the Western Conference for my number 3 team, and this team is sort of was more exciting in the beginning of the year and has gotten a little bit less exciting as they added up some injuries. But the Sacramento Kings, the joke of the Western Conference for much of this decade, they're really, really fun to watch. I mean, this is a group of guys prior to getting Harrison Barnes, because I think he sort of made them a little bit less exciting in my opinion, because he took away a lot of minutes from guys that I enjoyed watching. But you got guys like De'Aaron Fox, who took a big leap this year. Buddy Hield, who's proving that he's not a schmo. The whole I don't think that the whole comparison of him being the next Steph Curry is true, but especially now that Steph Curry can see properly. But Buddy Hield has been amazing. I mean,
he's up there with 3-point percentage, right?
Yeah, he's really, really good. 21 points per game. He's played most of the season. I don't think he's missed any games this season, actually. So he's durable. He's coming out there. He's playing his best. The guys that I really was impressed with this year were guys like Harry Giles. I mean, this is a guy who was the best prospect out of high school, had 2 devastating injuries in college, came out and people had sort of given up on him. He's coming in now, and he's not going to be the cornerstone or even the number 2, number 3, number 4 guy on a good team, but he's showing out there that he's a big who has good vision, and he can make things happen. And then I think people look really far down on Marvin Bagley, who probably didn't have as good of a rookie season as all the other top 5-6 players, but he still proved that he got better throughout the season. He got more involved before his injury, and his stats were just getting up there. And I think the future is bright for the kid.
Well, Bagley doesn't even start, right?
He wasn't starting, no. But right now he's out for the season. Right. But he wasn't starting when he was playing. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just glad to finally see a team actually, draft a top 3 player year in year out and actually finally pan out. I feel like there's been so many cases where we see a team draft, players in the top 5 for several years in a row and still never seem to improve. And I'm looking right at the Cavaliers when I say that, who did nothing with, I think, 4 straight top 5 picks and couldn't do anything about it until LeBron came back. Yeah. So it's just kind of refreshing to actually see it work out. And I guess I have to give the credit to the Sixers also, who are going to be my 3rd team, because they essentially do the same thing as the Kings. Drafted high year in, year out, hit on a couple of draft picks finally, and have actually built a team around them. And, again, it's just one of those teams that just have so much talent, and anybody can score 20 on any given night, at least on the starters. And they're just a competitive team. And, of course, Joel Embiid, you never know how he's going to react to anything that goes on the court.
Yeah, JoJo, fun on the court, fun off the court. Just last night he got into that scuffle with Bledsoe.
By the way, when you watch that replay and you see that throw that Bledsoe, when he throws the ball back at Embiid, you actually hear a thump when it hits Embiid. So that was a fastball back at Embiid.
Yeah, Bledsoe is also another hothead. I love that he is okay being the villain in any given series, just the guy that everyone hates. I really like that. Just he gets under people's skin with what he says. He got under Giannis's skin because he said that he's the most dominant player, the least unguardable. and then he gets under Andre Drummond's skin all the time, and that's actually that's the matchup that I'm really hoping that happens. The Pistons, the Sixers in the first round, because I just want to see what happens when Drummond has to play Embiid 4 to 5 times in a row.
Yeah, it's going to be very volatile, and I'm going to expect at least 1 or 2 ejections or suspensions from that series.
I am very much looking forward to it. I think my next one for number 2, people may be getting some fatigue from watching this team, but I still think that the way they play basketball, and especially this year with the added layer of having a guy like DeMarcus Cousins changing up like the pace of their game is really refreshing. Mm-hmm. So Golden State Warriors obviously are going to be my number 2, and I think that this might be the last iteration that we've seen of this team for the last couple of years. I think Kevin Durant probably will leave this year, and I don't think anyone's going to be able to really stop the Warriors from winning the championship, except maybe the Rockets or maybe someone coming out of the East. But this team is just so much fun to watch. I mean, KD and Steph now finally getting heated. I don't love what they do with the refs, but it's showing that they have heart and that they've become a little bit of complainers in terms of like not getting the calls their way, but they're going out there, they're fighting, and then it's really nice to see DeMarcus Cousins out there. I mean, we just saw it when they played the Nuggets. KD gets ejected, DeMarcus Cousins sort of takes over that game, and then on his way to the bench, he like looks over to see where Nikola Jokic is, just as a spiteful thing to do, because he held Jokic to I think 10 points and he had like 26 or something like that, which just goes to show you that he was a starter in the All-Star game last year, and people have sort of forgotten about him because of the Achilles injury.
Yeah, the Warriors are just one of those teams where, those few weeks in the middle of the season or towards the end of the season where they're just not locked in. They are one of the worst teams to watch, because it's so frustrating to know that this team has that much talent, yet they just can't execute. But then the nights where they actually kind of put it all together, right? The game against the Nuggets, the game against the Lakers, the game against the Timberwolves, right? When they're hitting these crazy shots because they're actually trying to win and aren't so lackadaisical about whether they lose or not. It makes them one of the most fun teams to watch. And I think, when they realize the Nuggets might actually give them a run for their money and take away home court advantage, especially given what almost happened last season against the Warriors and against the Rockets Game 7. I really love to see the Warriors actually come back and actually fight to keep home court advantage for the rest of the series.
Yeah, I mean, I think at this point they probably have locked it up as being the home court team. I think that their pathway to the finals, again, besides the Western Conference Finals and the finals themselves, is now looking really bright, with probably having to play the Spurs in the first round, and then getting either the Nuggets. Then either getting Portland or Jazz, who I think are both very beatable teams. Portland because of all of their injuries, and Jazz because they're a young team still trying to get their legs under them.
Well, do you think the Nurkic injury is even that big for Portland? I mean, they have like 5 other big guys on the bench who could essentially do the same thing that Nurkic can do.
Yeah, so I think the problem with that was, like, first off, Nurkic was having a career season. I actually think he was way better than McCollum this year. And the problem with the guys that they have on the bench, like, they don't know how to play defense, right? They got Enes Kanter. We already know Enes Kanter is a great offensive player, but can't play a lick of... That's
what you have Zach Collins for, to play defense.
Well, Zach Collins is also young and kind of small for his size. I don't really think he's going to be able to cut it out there with the other big guys in the Western Conference. I mean, you have either skill guys or will guys in the Western Conference, as Jalen likes to say, right? You got Jokic, who's a skill guy, DeMarcus Cousins, who's kind of a skill guy as well, and then you got guys like Clint Capella, who are will guys, and Gobert, who are, maybe not great offensively, but really can shut you down defensively. And I don't think that either Kanter or Zach Collins can really do anything against those guys. So I think losing Nurkic is, I think, even worse than had they lost, had they ended up losing McCollum for the season.
Yeah, no, I agree. My number 2. Yeah, I'm running out of options here. I am gonna have to go with my homegrown team, the New Jersey Nets, as the number 2. Just given the current definition of what we're defining as an exciting team. I always watch every single Nets game, as you know. But I think just when you look at what the Nets are doing, I think the entire league has taken notice. We have a all-star point guard. We have an amazing bench. And I'm sure this is probably the only team that actually has a camera focused on the bench after every single shot just to see what the reaction is going to be. And then, of course, we just have, I feel like we have a very innovative front office that's always looking for players that typically don't fit other systems within the NBA, and we somehow kind of polish them up under our system, and it's just exciting to watch players that you never really got to see do anything on other teams and finally kind of flourish with the Nets here. And I think 2 really good examples of that is Tamari Carroll, who we kind of forgot what he was able to do in Toronto when he went to Atlanta, or was it the other way around?
Other way around.
Yeah, other way around.
Regardless, he's been going around on teams and just not doing as well as he is now.
Exactly, and the same thing with Spencer Dinwiddie. I think he kind of had some good years early on with the Pistons, and then kind of bounced around for a little bit. I think he might have even ended up in the G League for a little bit, and now he's this kind of like heat check guy that we have in the fourth quarter. And I think it was maybe against the Rockets a couple months ago where he hit like 3 potential game-winning shots back to back to back. So again, for me, the Nets always a must-see watch on TV.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to break our pattern. And actually, like, the Nets were by and far the number 1 team that I like. I hate to watch them, but I love to watch them.
You're putting Nets number 1.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I know we're supposed to pick 10 different unique teams, but I really can't. I mean, the Nets are all around the most fun team to watch from the beginning of the season to the end of the season. I mean, they have young guys who are doing amazing. They have a guy like D'Lo and a guy like Karis LeVert who have taken big steps forwards in terms of their career. D'Angelo Russell is an amazing shooter. I mean, I can't. I would be very, very surprised if they let him walk at this point, since he's going to be an upcoming free agent. They got guys like Joe Harris, who obviously won the 3-point contest, Spencer Dinwiddie, the very quiet guy in the center, Jared Allen. I mean, these guys are all amazing, and what's even better is they have the perfect veteran support for them. I think that Jared Dudley is so great for this team. I don't know if you saw, and I actually think you probably did see, but they all went to the G League final game just to support their G League team. Like, who does that from an NBA team? Taking out time in their busy schedule to go and watch their G League team. Like, these guys are class acts. I think that they have the perfect veterans to nurture these young guys. I think for Russell, this change of going from the Lakers, where he didn't have any support from what he thought was the organization, but let alone like the veterans on his team, to this team where he fits in perfectly. He's grown, he's matured, and it's a shame that they have such a tough record, such a tough schedule at the end of the season, and they may miss the playoffs. But I think the future is bright for them. If I were any free agent, I don't understand how Brooklyn isn't one of the teams that they would want to go to, with their culture being amazing and their players being a step forward than they probably should be at this point in their career.
Yeah, let me tell you, man, there is nothing more hype than watching a D'Lo heat check. I mean, those rainbow threes that he hits every like, it seems like almost every single game. It's like fourth quarter. We're down by like 4 or 5 points. We just need some kind of spark on offense. And D'Lo coming off the screen, hitting a rainbow 3, does it 3 times back to back to back. And man, there's nothing better to watch on TV than that.
For sure. I mean, I don't even know who you could have as number 1, but whoever you have as number 1 is wrong, because the Nets are the most exciting team in the league.
Well, in all honesty, I did want to put the Nets number 1, but then I knew you would have probably just trashed me for picking up Homer as number 1. So I kind of had to hedge my bet a little bit. But I guess we can't talk about the NBA without talking about the Rockets and what James Harden's doing on a night-to-night basis. I mean, you just have to turn on the game just to see how many points he has and whether it's going to be like 50 or 60 or 40. Because it seems like every single game, that's how much he's scoring.
Yeah, James Harden is unreal. greatest. We grew up in the generation with Kobe being the greatest scorer, and James Harden makes it look even easier than that. It's like taking Kobe and his amazing mid-range game and just making it at the 3-point line or at the bucket. I mean, he is the number of moves he has for a guy who doesn't look that fast. His first step is so quick that he loses guys. I mean, if you take a collection of all the plays this year where he made the defender look foolish, it would be like a movie length.
And he's strong too. I mean, there's so many guys who have that quick first step, but then the moment they get into the paint, they see the big guy and they back it out. But he's strong enough that he can just kind of get through that content, get to the rim, and hopefully make it, or even just get the call. But I mean, I think I remember seeing a stat. Maybe it was like last month. I think Paul George at the time was second leading scorer, and he might still be. He had to have scored like 80 points a game for the rest of the season just to catch up to James Harden. That's the scoring prowess of James Harden. And I think like 2 months ago I saw another stat that said if James Harden didn't score another bucket the rest of the season, he would still average over 20. I mean, like that just blows my mind.
Yeah, I mean, James Harden has put his team on his back most of the season while his teammates sort of recovering from injury. Hopefully not so much so that when he gets into the playoffs that he's huffing and puffing and really isn't able to help lead the Rockets to where they want to be, which I think at this point, for even though they had all the injuries in the beginning of the season, everyone was like sort of looking down on their off-season moves. I mean, Daryl Morey, somehow, some way, he looks like a wizard every year because he makes these moves that don't completely make sense, but somehow by the end of the season, you're like, what the fuck? How did I not know about these? And so I think that for them, the expectation is championship or bust. And I think that they are the greatest threat, east or west, to the Warriors. I think that if they see the Warriors in the Western Conference Finals, which I think is going to happen, they're healthy, I think that that's going to be a very, very great series to watch.
If they don't make it to the finals this season, is this the last time that they run it back with Harden, Capella, and CP3, or what do they have to do?
Well, they have no choice. I think that they're not going to move Harden. I think Capella's a culture guy. I don't think that they're going to move him. He fits perfectly on that team. And I think that as Chris Paul ages, his contract becomes less and less tradable. So I think they have no choice but to run it back. And the question won't be about those three. I think the question will start becoming about the other guys, the Eric Gordons on the team, and those kinds of guys. Like, do they want to keep bringing those guys back, or do they want to change it up? But honestly, I think the way that Chris Paul has been playing this year, I think that if they stay healthy, or even if they get injured, I think that I would run it back if I were them. I think that the timeline is much larger than I had expected at the beginning of the year when Chris Paul was coming off his injury.
Or they could just do the most logical move and just sign KD.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think. Well, I mean, I think that if KD ended up going there, it would be the biggest snake move ever, right? Just
no, come on.
No. I mean, how perfect would it be if the Warriors lost in the Western Conference Finals and KD's like, last time I lost in the Western Conference Finals, what did I do?
No,
but I went to the team that I lost to, and then this time he's like,
this time he has an excuse. He's just reuniting with his brother. You know, he's going back to Harden.
You're right. I hope that happens. Now that you've mentioned it, you know, obviously as the sort of tin hat crazy theory kind of guy in our friend group, you would be the guy to bring something like that up, which I think is obviously not possible. But
well, no, it does think about it though. Like Katie's been saying, money doesn't necessarily make him happy, right? He just wants to have fun playing basketball. Where else is he going to have more fun playing on a team that actively encourages only taking 3-pointers along with one of his best friends?
You're right. And the only thing that James Harden is better at than scoring on the court is scoring at the strip club, which I'm sure Katie would love to go to.
I mean, Katie is single, so America, you heard it first. Katie to Houston confirmed.
All right, man. This basketball season has been amazing. Great. It's very fun when we're talking about the best teams to watch are not necessarily the best teams in either division. I mean, we didn't mention the Bucks and the Raptors, who are also really, really fun to watch. The Nuggets are great to watch too. But it's really nice to see that some of these teams that aren't going to make the playoffs, they aren't just like the tank teams, the teams that aren't fun to watch because they're trying to lose. There's teams there that are trying to win, that have a lot of hope for the future, and I hope to continue watching them even as the season dwindles without them benching all their guys.
Yeah, man. I think that's all Adam Silver can hope for.
Yeah, exactly. All right, dude. Until the next time when we start previewing the playoffs, and then there's also another special podcast we have in store coming up soon.
All right, bro. Catch you later.
Later.
See you.